On
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Burby's 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
Good day. Welcome to your news at noon on Kaieteur Radio. I'm Kevin Smith. A comprehensive analysis published yesterday by British daily newspaper The Guardian noted that ExxonMobil Corporation's stock price dropped by more than $10 following the landmark ruling by Justice Sandil Kissoon ordering the oil giant to provide Guyana with an unlimited parent guarantee for oil spills. In the article, authored by award-winning journalist and podcaster Amy Westerveld, she said the nearly 12% decline occurred in just 2 weeks. Our independent checks also showed that the stock price was $115 2 days before the May 3rd judgment, but then slipped to $105 after the ruling was issued. Westerveld's report also quotes the CEO and president of the Center for International Environmental Law, Carl Moffat, on the significance of the case for the industry. He said lawyers worldwide fighting similar matters are looking at the case for inspiration. Moffat is quoted in the piece saying, "Lawyers from around the world who are fighting oil and gas off the coasts of southern Africa, off the coast of Mozambique, and other parts in the Caribbean are going to be looking at this decision and paying close attention to whether the financial guarantees being provided in other oil and gas exploration and development permits are at an equivalent level." The cost of oil production at ExxonMobil Guyana's fifth development, Waru, is estimated as the third highest compared to other top producing states around the globe. This was recently brought to the fore by former ambassador and professor Dr. Kenrick Hunt, who holds a PhD in economics, rural finance markets, and a master's in economics from the Ohio State University. Dr. Hunt explained that the government must explain how this poor project evaluation was accepted. The former ambassador also showed that the 20-year project life, as claimed by Exxon for the Waru project, is grossly padded. He believes that the resources could be drained from the field in less than 9 years. And coming from Reuters, Nigeria needs $12 billion to clean up decades-old oil spills in southern Bayelsa state over a 12-year period, a new report said on Tuesday, and singled out Shell and Eni for being responsible for most of the pollution. Bayelsa is one of the major oil-producing states in the Niger Delta, a region blighted by pollution, conflict, and corruption related to the oil and gas industry. Oil majors in Nigeria have long faced legal challenges over the Niger Delta spills, which they mostly blamed on sabotage and vandalism of pipelines and illegal refining. The Bayelsa State Oil and Environmental Commission said in a report that it started an investigation in 2019 on the impact of spills and looked at evidence from forensic scientists, blood samples from people in affected areas, and company data. The investigation discovered, among other findings, that toxic pollutants from spills and gas flaring were many times higher than the safe limits in samples of soil, water, and air in the blood of local residents, the commission said. In other news, a lone bandit on a motorbike on Wednesday afternoon at Last Bridge under Neming, La Parfait Harmony, West Bank Demerara, ripped off a schoolboy's pants just to get his cell phone out of his pocket. After stealing the child's phone, the thief reportedly pushed the boy into a nearby trench and rode away. The victim was identified as a 15-year-old fourth form student of Westminster Secondary School. He said that he was attacked just a few minutes after 15 hours while walking home from school. Investigations are ongoing. And just before we head to a break, let's tell you the unstable political climate and unreliable power supply are seen as the major obstacles to doing business in Guyana. the Inter-American Development Bank said in its Caribbean Economics Quarterly Review. For years, Guyanese have struggled with frequent power outages, and despite billions of dollars in investments at the Guyana Power and Light, nothing has changed. The government has embarked on an ambitious gas-to-energy project, which Vice President Bara Jagdeo said will solve the electricity woes. Yet, to date, no financial and/or any feasibility study for this project, which involves approximately 25 kilometers of onshore pipeline, has been provided to the nation, despite repeated requests for the same. Budget documents indicate the government is looking to borrow from the U.S. Exim Bank $134 billion Guyana dollars for the project, raising further concerns about the country's debt record. Only recently, the Public Utilities Commission reported that GPL has continuously failed to achieve majority of its operating standards and performance targets, despite those targets being way below industry norms, and nearly met the other targets. According to the document, PUC Order 1 of 2023, which is a review of GPL's performance in 2022, painted the agency in a grim light for only achieving 4 of the 8 standards and targets. You're listening to Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 and 99.5 FM. This is the news at noon. We'll return after the break.
Child sexual abuse can stay with a person for life. It can rob them of their childhood. It's an unforgivable, unforgettable, despicable act. And yet, children suffer this abuse every day. During these times, we must keep a watch out for children. If you suspect child abuse, report it to the police without delay or call the CPA hotline on 227-0979. Protect children now.
A message from the Child Care and Protection Agency, Ministry of Human Services and Social Security, and UNICEF.
Welcome back. 20-year-old Gabriella Allen, called Gabby, a former daycare employee of Buck Hill Wismar Linden, was on Monday jailed 8 years for raping a young girl. Allen had denied the indictment. She was on trial before Justice Prius Unarain Bihari at the Demerara Sexual Offences Court. On February 22nd, after deliberating, the jury returned with a guilty verdict. As such, Justice Unarain Bihari ordered that a psychiatric evaluation be conducted on Allen. The Caribbean Examinations Council said it is aware of the concerns that the CSEC Math Paper 2, which was written on Wednesday, May 17th, was leaked. In a terse statement, CXC said this matter is of great concern. We have commenced our investigations and will make a definitive statement once the investigation is completed. It is not the first time there have been breaches of the CXC examinations. Back in 2005, the entire mathematics examination was leaked, with copies of the papers sold and distributed in parts of this country and online at prices ranging at that time from $20,000 to $50,000. And Minister within the Ministry of Public Works, Deodat Indar, on Tuesday oversaw the signing of a number of contracts worth $422 million for projects in villages on the east coast of Demerara. The villages include Plaisance, Bedford-Wating, Vrijtslust, and Triumph. Minister Indar mentioned that out of the $423 million, $302 million worth of contracts was signed for 23 separate lots for concrete road projects. On Tuesday, a $99 million contract was signed for works at the BV Main Access Road, while $22 million was signed for the desilting of drains. And a rape accused on Tuesday, while being escorted by a police officer for trial, jumped off the balcony of the Demerara High Court and escaped. He, however, reportedly turned up in court the following day, Wednesday, and told the judge that it was a mistake. The rape accused was identified as Warren George. George had asked to use the washroom, and while being taken there by the officer, he made the daring escape. Security cameras at the court captured him sitting a few times while walking with the policeman along the balcony before suddenly jumping over the balcony of the two-story building. He landed on his side before springing up to his feet and running away. He was on trial and at the time of his escape was out on court bail. When he turned up for court on Wednesday, his bail was revoked. And moving on, police on Wednesday issued a wanted bulletin for William Diabru, a 25-year-old man who they said is wanted for questioning in relation to a series of armed robberies. The man's last known address has been listed as Lot 2801 Middle Street, Beirut and Bachelor's Adventure, East Coast Demerara. Diabru is wanted for questioning for a series of gun-related robberies and discharging a loaded firearm with intent. Police stated that the crimes took place in April 2023 at Enmore. If anyone knows his whereabouts, they are asked to contact the police on telephone numbers 225-6940, 225-801-69, or the nearest police station. Diabru is no stranger to police. And at this time, we close things off by being a little blunt by turning the pages of today's Kaieteur newspaper to page 7. The hired pens at work. Having failed to hijack the Guyana Press Association, the PPP government has since released its hired pens as was predicted to go after the association. Government advisors and other officials of the state are competing with each other to see who can throw the most dirt on the GPA through their Facebook pages and in the letter columns of newspapers. What a pathetic display of men and women singing for their supper. Their aim is to discredit the press body, the same one they were so desperately hoping to control a week ago. And that brings us to the end of today's News at Noon. I'm Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening. Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's Newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.
Kaieteur Radio.
Covering Guyana from coast to coast.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Purby's 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.